Hiya, I'd just like to show you how you can stamp using an acrylic block. So all I've got to start with is I've got a piece of white card. Now this is a 240 GSM piece of white card, and the crucial part here is the fact that it's super smooth, and this is going to allow me to get a really nice crisp impression. Because it's not textured, there's not any pits to it, it's got that nice smooth surface and it's going to be really easy to stamp onto. I've also got an ink pad, and this is just a rare earth premium dye ink pad, and the colour is pitch black. So we can see if we remove the lid, we've got that raised felt surface. You can see that it's super black, so it's going to give us that lovely deep crisp black image. And it's a nice large size ink pad, so it's going to be really easy to use when we come to ink up our stamp. And I've just got a little stamp here. This is a rare earth stamp. It's just from the Sweet Succulents range. I thought it's really nice just to show you on a little small stamp like so. And then finally I've got my acrylic block. So as you can see, mine's ever so slightly mucky. It's a little bit stained, but it's not mucky in the sense that we're going to get ink on our fingers when we touch it. It's just stained a little bit. Now what you want to think about when you're using acrylic blocks to stamp with is you want a similar size acrylic block to the size of your stamp. So you don't want a huge acrylic block and a tiny stamp, because what you might find is when you come to stamp, you're rocking about a little bit. So always try and match roughly your acrylic block size to the size of your stamp. So you can see here I've got a fairly small stamp, and so I've got a fairly small acrylic block. So in order to mount our stamp onto our acrylic block, what we do is we take our stamp, and this is just a clear stamp, so you can see we can completely see through it. We mount that onto our acrylic block and just press it down slightly, just light pressure. You can see now that's stuck to that. Now these clear stamps, they're not sticky to touch, but when we mount them onto our acrylic block, they do just cling onto there. So you can see that's firmly fixed onto there, but when we want to come to peel it off, it just peels off easily like so. One thing to remember is that it's important to clean your stamps after your use. What you'll find is that if you don't, they will become a little bit mucky, and then you'll find it difficult to actually mount them onto your acrylic block because they'll lose that cling. But just washing them in warm soapy water will keep them nice and clean, and you'll find that they cling to your acrylic block nice and easily, like we can see here. What we're going to do now is we're going to ink up our stamp. So we're taking this rare earth pitch black dye ink pad, we're going to remove the lid like so, and what we do when we come to ink up our stamps is we take our ink pad to our stamp rather than the other way around. You'll find that way it's easiest to ink up your stamp, and also you'll get a more even layer of ink over there. So what we're going to do is we're just going to perform light taps, even taps all over the image, just to apply ink all over that stamp, all over that raised surface of the stamp. So you don't want to be grinding your ink pad into your stamp. You don't want to be applying a lot of pressure and banging it down. You just want to be firmly applying the ink all over there. And you'll be able to see, because this is a sharp, dark black ink pad, you'll be able to see if you've missed any areas. And just apply plenty of ink onto there. Then always pop your lid straight back on your ink, otherwise you can get yourself in a bit of a mess. You can get your elbow into there quite easily, I do find. And then just taking your cardstock, your stamp, hovering over, position it where you'd like, and then just apply even pressure all over the top of the block, over your stamp. Some people describe this as sort of finger dancing. Make sure you always have one hand on the stamp at all times. Never remove both. You need that firm anchor. So just pressing all over that image. Once you're happy, remove your stamp like so, and you can see you've got that beautiful crisp impression onto there. Now what you choose to do with that is completely up to you, but that can give you a really fantastic starting point for any of your projects, and you can see how easy it is to stamp just with an ink pad, a stamp and acrylic block. So it's really easy to get started with stamping.